My husband just confessed to me that he settled for me. Disclaimer is not my story time, send me an Instagram. Ugh. My husband and I met when we were in college. My best friend at the time, let's call her Tori. Her and I lived together and were best friends. We did everything together. I mean, we were like sisters. Let's call my husband Jack. Jack came to school and he was a newbie. He had 0 friends, so Tori and I decided to take him in. So the 3 of us went on to become the 3 Musketeers. He would stay over our apartment so much that we actually just asked him to move in. We would cook for each other, help each other study. We would even do each other's laundry whenever somebody needed help. I'm telling you, we were all like a tight-knit family. But I have a confession. As soon as Jack moved in, I started falling in love with him. But at the time, I never had the balls to ever tell him. You see, Tori was considered the prettier of the 2 of us. And I never resented Tori for that, but people made it very clear that she was the prettier one. And she was always the one to get hit on, never me. But one night, we all got drunk and Jack ended up kissing me. He actually even tried to hook up with me, but I said no, part 2 is up. My husband confessed that he settled for me. Disclaimer, it's not my story time, sent me on Instagram. That night he tried to hook up with me, but I said no. Following morning, he actually apologized. At the time, Tori had just started dating another guy. I mean, Tori had a new boyfriend every single week. At the time, I wished I could have 1 boyfriend. While she had 10, I had 0. This is when I started noticing that Jack was a little jealous of Tori's new relationship. Anytime her new boyfriend would come over, he would get in a really bad mood. I asked him if he was jealous and he said no. A few days later, we all got drunk again and Jack kissed me again. Eventually, we ended up dating and he asked me to be his girlfriend and then we got married. And that all happened within a year. Tori at this time had already gotten married to the guy that she was dating. We actually both had our weddings around the same time. At the time, I felt so lucky that I was able to marry the man that I had fallen in love with in college. I was actually afraid that I would end up alone because I wasn't as pretty as Tori. Fast forward to a year after we all got married. We actually all ended up living in the same cities as well. Tori invited us over for dinner to see their new house. During the dinner, my husband decided to have a few too many drinks. And that's when he blurted out, "I actually liked Tori before I liked you. I only married you because Tori got engaged." They all laughed at this. They clearly thought it was a joke. I laughed it off too. Part 3 is up. My husband confessed to me that he settled for me. Disclaimer is not my story time, sent me on Instagram. That's when he said in front of everyone that he only married me because he lost his chance with Tori. They all laughed. I mean, even Tori's husband found it funny. When we finally got in the car to head home, I asked him if he actually meant it. He looked at me and he said, "Yeah, I liked Tori before I liked you," and that the only reason he hooked up with me was because he was mad at Tori. I started to cry uncontrollably. This whole time, I never thought he had a thing for Tori. He stops the car and he says, "But I love you," that he had no feelings for Tori anymore. I asked him why he would think that was okay to say out loud. He said he had probably had too many drinks. Yeah, it's the alcohol's fault for sure. When we got home, I asked him again if he really loved me. That's when he explained that the love he has for me is different than the love he had for Tori, and that he was actually infatuated with Tori. That our love was safe love. He said, "Just forget about what I said. It was just a joke. I just wanted to make everyone laugh." That's when I realized that he had made a joke at my cost. And it was all to make Tori laugh. Called Tori the next day and explained everything to her. That's when she confessed that her and Jack had been hooking up in college. That sometimes they would hook up when I was asleep on the couch. That they had even done it on top of the kitchen counter and in my bedroom. I told my husband, and that's when he said that I needed to let it go. That Tori was part of the past. He doesn't even touch me or kiss me. He's always angry and reproaching everything that I did. Thinking about leaving him. We don't have kids yet. What should I do?
Am I wrong for showing my twin sister's OnlyFans to our parents? I, 18 female, and my identical twin sister, also 18 female, obviously, have always had a tumultuous and competitive relationship. We've always fought over everything. Guys, clothes, friends, etc. But our relationship came to a halt a few weeks ago when a mutual guy friend of ours sent me a link to an OnlyFans profile with an attached message that stated, "This you?" Confused, I clicked on the link and was shocked to discover that the profile belonged to my twin sister. The profile picture was very clearly a scantily clad image of her, and the username was my nickname that literally everyone in my life uses. I asked our friend about it and he told me that he had discovered the profile through Twitter and then subscribed to the profile, which included dozens of videos of her doing spicy things to say the least, solo and with partners, all of which her face was showing. I was floored, and in a fit of rage, I showed the profile to my parents. I mean, literally anyone who saw that profile that knows us would immediately assume that it's me, considering she's basically going by my name. Our parents forced her to delete the profile and she hasn't spoken to me since, claiming that I not only ruined her main source of income, but also betrayed her trust. However, I think that she betrayed my trust by going by my nickname. So, am I in the wrong here? I'm 16 and my parents, 36 each, became poly 4 years ago. They came to me and explained what it meant to be that. They've been dating the same person, Madison, 27, for the past 3 years, and she moved in with us 2 years ago. She's overall an okay-ish person, but she's very much into being some kind of cool mom, which she will never be for me. My parents' relationship with Madison is very serious. Both of my families know her, and while not everyone accepts her as a real part of their marriage, they're okay with her too. For me, she's more like a roommate that my parents love rather than a parent figure or someone that I have to listen to. My dad's okay with her trying to discipline me, but my mom is not. Well, 2 days ago, my boyfriend walked me home and I invited him in to have a piece of cake since my mom's birthday was the day before and he couldn't come. He said yes and we went inside, and that's honestly everything we did. Madison came home an hour after and we were still in the kitchen, eating and watching TikToks together. I had my head on his shoulder and we were just chilling. She saw us and began acting very weird. She said hi and drank a glass of water, but after 10 minutes she just stood there pretending to watch her phone, but it was pretty obvious she was just watching us. My boyfriend felt uncomfortable and he said his goodbyes. When Madison and I were left alone, she approached me saying it wasn't okay for me to be alone with a boy at 16 and that she would appreciate I don't do it again. I was honestly shocked. My parents know my boyfriend pretty well, and more than that, they know me. And I would never betray their trust by doing something I'm not allowed yet just because I was alone. She wanted to keep talking, but I cut her off and said that she had no right to try and give me the talk, and she wasn't my parent in any form to try and parent me or give me unsolicited advice. She said that she was just trying to help me, but I said she better not, and any concern she had, she could talk to my real parents, and if they see it fit, they'll talk to me. But just because she was dating them both didn't make her mommy too, and I went to my room. This morning, while my dad drove me to school, he said that Madison talked to both of them and my mom decided that she overstepped, but that he agreed with her and he would appreciate a heads up when my boyfriend and I are alone, and that if it was okay for me, I could apologize. But I said that I don't feel like it, and he said he was disappointed. Am I wrong for refusing to apologize to my parents' poly partner?
Am I wrong for not replacing one of my groomsmen after he cheated on a bridesmaid? My fiance and I are getting married in 2 months. I have 4 groomsmen, including my brother, cousin, a close childhood friend, and a close college buddy. My fiance's best friend was in a long-term relationship with him, but unfortunately for her, he got exposed as a cheater. I don't know the details of it, and honestly, I don't want to. I wasn't aware of the cheating prior to the time it was discovered. I feel that his relationship with her is none of my business. My fiancé, on the other hand, does. She now hates him and is demanding that I replace him. She said he'll be a toxic presence to our wedding because the woman he cheated on is going to be a bridesmaid. I was bothered by this. This guy is one of my closest friends. I have known him since we were 18. I want him to be a groomsman. I said that they both can go and just set aside their beef for one day. After all, the date isn't about them. It's about us, and the relationship is none of our business. She said that she was putting her foot down on this and that my friend wouldn't be in her wedding. I said that if it's that big of a deal, she can drop his ex from the wedding, and that if she doesn't want that, then we can go along with the initial plan. She's been pissed at me since and hasn't relented on this at all. So, am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for reporting my son's therapist for sharing information with his stepdad? My male 36, 14-year-old son's dog passed away recently. I signed him up with a therapist because his dog's death has literally left him unable to speak. He's been in therapy for 2 weeks now, and 2 days ago my son called me crying. He said his stepdad punished him by taking his bicycle and selling it for no reason. I was livid and went to have a word with his stepdad. He said there was a reason and that in fact my son badmouthed him to the therapist and claimed he treated the dog poorly. I was floored and we had an argument. I asked how he knew and to prove it. Am I the asshole for reporting my son's therapist for sharing private information with his stepdad? He pulled out his phone and showed me texts between him and my son's therapist. So basically, the therapist was giving out private information about the stuff my son said. I was even more floored. I went straight to the therapist and we had an argument. I told him I was going to report him after he defended himself, saying the reason he told my son's stepdad was because he was concerned as a parent. I said I didn't care what the justification was and went on with my report. My son's mom called after she found out about the report and blew up on me. She called me a controlling asshole, and my own wife thought I made a hasty decision. Am I the asshole for not paying for my niece's college tuition? I, 45 male, am the father of 3, 21 male, 25 male, and 18 female. I also take care of my niece, 17 female, after her father passed away. My wife, 45 female, and I have always treated her like family, and we give her things equally so she doesn't feel left out. I honestly really care about her, but financially I can't support her all my life. When my eldest moved out, I had more money to spare, so I was able to get her more things. My daughter is now going away to college, so my niece was excited and came to my wife and I to talk about colleges she liked. I told her that was fantastic and she should start looking at scholarships. Am I the asshole for not paying for my niece's tuition? I said it was great she was thinking about college and that she should start applying to scholarships now so it was easier later. She then asked why when her scholarship would be paid for. I told her that no, I wouldn't. I only had money to pay for my kids, but I would help her out with the basic necessities. She was silent after that and went to her room. Apparently she spoke to my father because he called me in a rage and said I was being cruel, especially since my brother was always close to me when he was alive. I told him I just don't have that type of money saved, and he said if I cared for her then I would have started saving as soon as I took her in. My brother died very young, so he didn't have much saved, and my niece's mother's side isn't offering anything. I admit I should have told her I wasn't paying that earlier, but I didn't. Am I wrong?
I, 21 female, am a university student. My boyfriend, 23 male, is studying cosmetology and works as a hairdresser. Recently, he insisted that he give me a haircut. My hair has been growing since the pandemic began and was at mid-back length when he made the offer. I was initially reluctant as I had no plans on getting a haircut. He then offered to give me the cut at half the price offered by his salon. I thought it was a good offer as summer was approaching quick and the price was reasonable too, so I agreed to it. The next day, I went over to his apartment for the haircut. Before he began, I made it clear that I wanted a shoulder-length cut and nothing shorter than that. However, he started cutting my hair way shorter than shoulder length. I asked him to stop, but he continued saying that he knew what he was doing. When he was done, my hair was in an uneven chin-length bob. I was furious, as I had specifically asked him for a shoulder-length cut. He even offered to even the bob out, but I refused and stormed out. When I returned home, I was pretty devastated. Not only did I have my hair cut way shorter than I asked for, but I also ended up paying a lot more than expected as fees to the salon. I switched on my phone only to see 2 unread messages sent by my boyfriend. He first apologized for the cut he had given me. He followed this up by asking me to pay for the cut. This struck my nerve, as I felt he did not deserve to get paid even a single cent for his horrible job. I texted him back telling him that I will not be paying for the cut and asked him to just leave me alone for the day. It has been a day since the cut and my boyfriend hasn't messaged me since. I'm wondering if I might have been too harsh on my boyfriend.
I literally hope you never see this guy again.